So again, good morning, everybody. For our first-time visitors, my name is Lynn Gardner, and I'm just facilitating the call here this morning. We're so glad to have you with us today, and hopefully we'll be able to add a nugget or two that'll help you along in your business. And this really is a team call for us, and wanted to do the best that we can to try to make everybody feel connected, regardless of where they are in the across the globe. And so we'll, to try to personalize it a little bit. So feel free as we move along to raise your hand and add your thoughts or ask your questions or whatever, because we really are trying to do our best to make this remote meeting, feel as personal as we can. So a couple announcements before I move on to a mini message, if you will. We had the first two water awareness seminars, and I really want to thank everybody for their attendance and their support. Sometimes I'm just overwhelmed, as I see people, not just people that are above me that showed up. Pat, Charles, thank you, and Jack showed up last night, and not just those people, but people that aren't even, directly in my team to show up, and they just have such a servant's heart. And I am very, very excited about this project. I'm really excited about being able to take this whole spin of what's going on around us, Flint, Michigan, Hoosick Falls, New York, the state of Pennsylvania, that we have water issues everywhere. In fact, there was a report that was out that said 47% of Americans now, today, are concerned about their drinking water. So there's never been a better time. And I guess my background in auction, where it kind of work with, the fear of people. It's fear selling. It sounds very cold when you say that, but when you think about it, somebody buys life insurance, they're buying based on fear. So there's something to be said for that. So this whole Chase the Flint message, I've been preaching it out there. I'm so excited about it. I'm excited about these two events. I'm going right around behind this. I'm going to be coordinating another date locally, but Maggie McIntyre is excited, and she has one of her people, Paula, in North Carolina, is in an area where they are almost constantly, having to boil their water. There's a high rate of cancer in a concentrated area, and so instead of calling Aaron Brockovich in, we're going to go in, and I'm real excited about being able to work with Maggie on that. And I understand that Cassidy's having an event like this coming up April 2nd. I'm sorry I can't be there, but it's really cool to see people take this message and following this lead, and it's a great example, I think, sometimes that we all come from different walks of life, and as we share with one another, ideas and concepts and trials and errors and all that, we all grow. And so I'm giving thanks for 18 years of fear selling in the auction business that inspired me to come forth with this, and it's just spreading throughout the team. So it's so exciting, and since we've done this, I've had people let me know that they're out there in the field and they're asking questions of people, and so many people are boiling their water, drinking distilled water, and they're already taking steps to try to be sure that they have healthy water, and of course we know that they don't. And so it's a great opportunity. We don't always have to go out with this message of drinking Kangen water and restoring your health. It's a process. Some people might just buy because of fear, and then we can talk them through and walk them through the other progression that they'll see. And of course we never want to forget the financial opportunity. If there's 47% of America is worried about their water, it's wide open, folks. This is our year. And speaking of that, we are in a massive growth phase right now. We say every time we're on a call, whether it's our call or another person's call, we're talking about how 2016 is the year. And believe me, sales are just ranked up so fast right now that, Enagic's even having trouble keeping K8s and the Anespas in stock. And that's a good thing. And, we're having some complaints, and we call corporate, and we have to stay on hold for so long. But, actually it's a good thing. And rest assured, Mr. Oshiro has a background. He has 42 years of history. He's got the means to take care of the problem. But growing pains are going to happen. And so, it's a matter of whether you recognize that as a positive thing or you spin it into a negative thing. We just have to bear with it, while we fix these problems. The good news is that, again, we are a sound company. We're going nowhere. These aren't signs of failure. These are growing pains of success. And so we have to roll with it as these things get remedied. I'm sure that they're working on everything right now. Pretty soon you won't stay on hold forever, and pretty soon they'll be releasing the products, in a more timely fashion. But those are good problems to have. I heard about somebody yesterday that was, we're hearing a lot of this where there are competitors out there, and there are people that were somewhat associated with the Enagic that say they have a better unit. There are people that are going to jump ship and do at the first sign of any challenge whatsoever, and what, good luck to them. But what we sell with Enagic, first of all, we have the stability that nobody else has. We have 42 years of the history. We've got 42-year jump start on everybody. And we have the most superior product. And you've heard me say before that there might come a time, where there's a product that's equivalent to ours, maybe, I don't know, but it would be, since we're getting so much of the market, it would be understandable if that happens at some point. But you know what? It doesn't really matter, because we've got a 42 years jump start on them. And it doesn't really matter, because what we sell, even though we have superior technology, what we sell isn't product at all. What we sell is a dream. And so we're talking about, spreading that true health globally with compassion, and that true health is the whole dream. It's having peace of mind. It's having, enough money that, what do they say, money that goes beyond the month or something like that, having enough money, or building wealth in your life, or being healthy and strong. So, don't get caught up in that stuff, and whatever you do, don't be taking phone calls from people that promise you a better dream, because trust me, when a company comes out, first of all, you have a startup issue. Most startups never make it. And second of all, for some of those companies, it comes down to an honor issue. They're not honorable people, and they've proven that. That's not my opinion. So, how far will a company go if it already has 2 strikes against it? First of all, it's a startup, and second of all, it lacks integrity and honor. And so, don't get caught up in that. It's just something that's chasing after the wind, and something that we don't need to pay attention to. So just keep rocking and rolling. Now, we are hearing over and over and over this opportunity call. If you haven't been on this call yourself, I don't know why not. I mean, you can't be more flexible. It's Monday through Friday, twice a day. They are not recording the calls for good reason. They position this call to be like a live opportunity call. So if you have a prospect, they know they're not listening to some Zippo, recording. They're actually live time. And if you position it like a live meeting, it's a very good thing. But they last 20, 25 minutes long. Again, I want to just be sure you understand that it's an odd hour of starting, and the reason for that is to get your prospects on. That first 5 minutes is so that they can hear people announce themselves and say, I'm a teacher from Michigan, I'm a nurse from Florida, or whatever, so they can hear that it's people from all walks of life that do what we do. And not everybody is doing this full time. People are building up to that. So it's a really good opportunity for them to hear that. And then, of course, they have top leaders, that are giving the message of the business. It's working famously. I mean, I'm plugged into a lot of calls. I'm hearing about a lot of sales that are happening, people joining up, people getting on board. Some people are calling right after this call to say, I want to get involved in this. What do I do? And so if you're not calling in, if you've never called in, shame on you. You got to get called in, and you got to try to get people on that call. I heard of someone that makes a point of meeting with a prospect at a time that will actually overlap this call. And so they'll say, well, if you don't mind, excuse me, but, we've been talking about my business. I've got to get on this call, and I'd love to have you on it with me. And they just dial it up. So great way of, making that happen when you're with someone. If you're not using the tools, guys, the tools can't help you. Of course, we have a reminder that we have the meeting, Monday night meeting at the farm, a demo meeting at 7 p.m. We will have a meeting this coming Monday. We won't have a meeting the following Monday. I'll send out a schedule there. I'll be out of town that Monday. But this meeting is for you. It's for everybody. I'm sometimes just really overwhelmed when I see how far people will come to this meeting. And, right now it's working very well. You need to plug into the meeting. Again, if you don't use the tools, they're not going to work for you. And it's a process that we all, for some reason, we really need to sharpen our skills in getting people to meetings. And part of that is whether you're excited about it or not. If you're just like, oh, crap, it's another Monday night meeting, well, that's what you're going to convey to somebody else. You need to be, targeting this meeting, and I do too, by the way. I'm always talking to myself too. I'm not just preaching at you. But we need to, invite with excitement, and invite with a, kind of an attitude that you don't want to miss this, like it's the only time they're ever going to see it kind of thing, So we have, a meeting on Monday night. I've already heard a report of number of guests that will be showing up, and I hope so. This past week was challenging with spring break, and a lot of us had a lot of no-shows. So let's work on Monday night and make it a great night, for anybody that wants to show. And then, of course, I want to do a reminder for the event coming up in October. We are going crazy, answering questions, and I'm thankful to Terry Quirrell for all the work he's doing, and he's really the event planner here, and I'm just out there smiling. But he's in negotiated sleeping rooms. He's really working hard on this. Pretty soon, you're not going to have an option to buy a ticket. So I hope if you haven't bought one, that you'll figure out a way. If finances are an issue, at least speak up and let me know that. Otherwise, it's going to sell out and you are going to get left behind. So we don't want that to happen. So I'm going to turn off this slide right now because my new slides didn't show up, as I said, and I don't want to be trying to teach you last week's business. But today I wanted to bring forth a message on, do the rules apply to you? And, we go through life and we think we often point fingers at other people, because they break the rules. But, where are we in life? Do the rules apply to us? Do we, I remember when my kids were young and they would go to movies with friends, and friends' parents would like sneak, food into a snack bag or something because the concession stand was so expensive. But you know what? That's breaking the rules. And so I would always tell my kids, no, if you can't afford to go to a movie and abide by the rules, you don't go to the movie. And so, or do we go through, it doesn't really matter if we think the speed limit through a certain area should be 35 or not. It matters that that's the rule. And so do we put our, foot to the pedal and just look around, and if nobody's looking, we just, go a little faster than we're supposed to? Do the rules apply to us? And with the NAGIC, that's a big deal, because if we're on board with the NAGIC, we got to really be on board with the NAGIC. And there's some rules that I want to talk about that are written rules, and some rules that are just, rules of good conduct, I guess I should say. And the first thing that we need to be concerned about is, we are growing fast, and we do have people nipping at our heels, and we do have people that are going to want to slow us down, and there's not much that they wouldn't do to slow us down. And so they're monitoring meetings, they're on calls like this, they're out there just trying to find an area of weakness for us so that they can cause problems for us. And you know what? Every single one of us has responsibility to do everything in our power to be sure that doesn't happen. So it all starts with us and whether we're willing to abide by the rules. One of those rules is that we don't make medical claims. And that is a very delicate area because we do represent a medical grade device. We do know, at least people like myself, have had tremendous benefits physically. We hear of all kinds of amazing testimonials, but it's never about the water. It's always about the body kicking into healing mode. If you don't have a respect and an honor for the miraculous nature of the body to do what it does, maybe you need to work on that, because it's about, we give the body what it needs, and it's not just water. It's also good nutrition and exercise and clean air and all kinds of stuff. But as long as we go out there and misspeak this water, I hear it almost every day within our team. People saying, oh, you got to drink this water. Oh, you got that. You got to try this water. Guys, we need to reposition that. If you have trouble in how to share your excitement in a way that's safe for the entire company, then talk to somebody about it and work on those words, because we're not going to refrain from that. It's ridiculous to say that we're never going to talk about anything physical. Of course we are. It's not what we say, it's how we say it. And that is jeopardizing a lot of people. The more you go out there, every single time you misspeak and you make claims about this water and what it's going to do for somebody, you put all of us at jeopardy. And maybe you don't really need to make a living, and maybe you don't really, it doesn't bother you if a NAGIC goes through trials. It bothers me. And so that's a huge rule with our company. It's a rule that's broken almost every single day, probably every single day, maybe every hour of every day. And we can't control everybody else out there, but we can control our team. And so I'm just saying to you again, if you have trouble, if you have doubt about how you say, how you share positive things about, what the body will do if we give it what it needs, then please talk to somebody and work on your words, because we're jeopardizing the entire ship. I'm on Facebook now doing a lot of social media for my business, and I see it all the time. People that have a well-meaning testimonial, but if they could just change a few words, there's nothing that anybody could say about that testimonial. But the way they put it out there, they're jeopardizing all of us. So number one rule is don't make medical claims. Number two rule is you don't make income claims. So it's fine to say this has saved my world. I was in financial distress. It's, of course we want to share what it's done financially, but you need to be refraining from any claim of any certain amount of money. I made this much last month, you can make this too. You've got to be very careful with that, because the bottom line is we're all in control of our own destiny, and we're going to make what we make. You can't, no matter what, even if it wasn't a rule breaker, It's not a good idea to tell somebody else what they're going to make when you can't say that they can. And so when you make claims like that, or you hint around like that, you open the company up for a whole lot of legal problems, because there's somebody out there. You could say, for instance, and this is a recorded call, so I'm being very careful, but you could say, for instance, hey, man, I make $20,000 a month. There's no reason you can't either. And that person never turns a nickel, and they file a lawsuit saying, this person told me I could make $20,000 a month. That's how that works against you. So we cannot do that. Be very careful. And yes, of course we need to talk about our dreams. And of course we need to talk about our vision and our why and where we're headed. And frankly, we can get there if we don't quit. But we don't want to lead somebody down the wrong path. We don't want to say the wrong things that's going to get everybody else in trouble. So again, you may not really care. You may not need the money. I need to make a living. You may not really care, and you may like bending the rules, and you may say, well, nobody will ever know, and speak these words, where you think it's private, but you're jeopardizing all of us. So if you have trouble with that, a way to position that, a way to word it so that you can go out there safely and get people excited about money and of the potential that they have. And if you don't know what to say, talk to somebody and get those words and practice those words and refrain from saying things that are jeopardizing all of us. And number 3 rule in that area, the written rules, is you don't flash your checks around. Every single day, even people within our team, I see them putting out there on Facebook pictures of their checks. It just looks like, oh my gosh, they're making so much money. And a lot of them are, but it's against the rules. So stop doing it. I remember when we had Super Saturday here at the farm and Romy was here, that was a private in-home meeting, and Romy asked for permission if he could share some things. There was nothing unethical or nothing that could jeopardize anybody the way that was done. I can remember one time being at an event, and to me I had a suitcase full of check stubs, basically. Never showed any of them individually to us whatsoever. You cannot go out there and show your checks and tease and taunt everybody out there and not expect all of us to have trouble, because believe me, there are people that are shallow enough that would look at that and say, but I saw your checks and you told me I could do it too. It's something so simple like that people will use against us. And it's just like life. I'm a spiritual woman. My faith is everything to me. And I know that, when I'm going down the right path in life and when I'm walking in the direction I need to walk, I am absolutely going to face a lot of adversity. And that's the same as it is with our company right now. We're soaring. It is our year. We're going to be at 20,000 units a month pretty soon. And if you don't think we're going to face adversity, you need to think again. So you have some responsibility in that. And so I guess you have to ask yourself, do the rules apply to me? You want to see the written rules and read the manual, by the way, the policies and procedures. You need to read that. Keep yourself familiar with that. Keep yourself in check. It's just like if you work for a corporation, there are certain things that are allowed there and certain things that aren't. And if you were getting a paycheck, you wouldn't thumb your nose at the rules. So even though you are in business for yourself, you still need respect, the mothership, as we say, and you need to protect all of us, because frankly, this is my future and I care if you protect it. And there are some rules that aren't really rules. I'm using that phrase, loosely, and it's not really written, but there are things that in our business that we want to be sure we do at all times, and one thing that we want to do is we want to operate with integrity. Be a person of your word, and that means not just for the people that you're talking to, your prospects, your business prospects. Be a person of your word. If you say you're going to call back, call back. If you say you're going to send them something, send them something. Be a person of your word. But it also means to show that integrity with each other. This is a business of personal development. It's one there, we are just, if we want to be successful, we have to constantly be working on our own character. And if you're not willing to do that, you need to go back to the drawing board. And one of those areas is integrity. We want to treat people with respect. That respect, again, doesn't just go to the people that we're meeting with. We need to be a respecter of their time, and we need to be a respecter of their families. We need to be a respecter of them to provide them what they need to make a good decision about what we have. There are many, many, many ways that we need to extend respect to people that we're dealing with and trying to get them to embrace our mission. But we also need to show respect within the team. If you show the respect, what you reflect out there, you're going to get back. So you need to be sure that you're respecting people on your team, off your team, people in the business. Respect their time, respect their efforts. Let them know you appreciate them. And extend that respect in every way humanly possible. I'll tell you one thing. I am so inspired to extend respect. When I have situations like these 2 meetings I just talked about, these 2 water awareness meetings, you know, the Flint Fear meetings, and when I look around at people just so willing to show me respect and so willing to serve me, it moves me, and I just want to show more respect right back out there, you know. So, you know, we need to extend that respect. And again, thank you to everybody that helped me, just even as last night. And, you know, and we always need to be sure that we're committed. You know, are we going to be committed? Are we going to do the things that we're told are the things that it takes to be successful? You know, it's not a rule. You don't have to do these things. You work for yourself. But, you know, if you want to be part of a team, that's something that you kind of, you know, need to be mindful of. If you know, show your commitment, show up for the meetings, be on the calls. You know, I look out there and see so many people on this call, and how many of them are actually within our local team, and how many are seeking leadership and guidance and calls like this from all over the country. It's kind of humbling when you look at it and you realize how few people are willing to show up. So you need to show up and show your support and do all those things that make a team even better. And again, it all starts with us. You know, do the rules apply to us? Is it okay if I, you know, don't show you respect? Why would I expect to see respect back? Is it okay if I just kind of bend the rules and I don't operate with integrity, and yet I would expect everybody to operate with integrity with me? You know, so we want to follow those rules? Do the rules apply to us? Every year I live and breathe, and again, as a woman of faith, it's always a challenge, you know, to try to be a person of excellence. I strive to be that person of excellence, and I don't want to be a rule breaker. You know, if I want to be convicted, if I speed down the road, I want it to be a boo-boo and not something where I said, well, it doesn't make any sense, the speed limit's that. I want to follow the rules, and the rules from my God, the rules from this company, the rules that we all need to be a good human being and a good representation of the company that we represent. So that's it for me for the message this morning. Do the rules apply to you? I hope that maybe I tugged on some heartstrings, and I hope maybe I've made you think a little bit, because I think we're all guilty of one of those things that I mentioned. You know, we're somewhere along the line, we always need to be working on improving us, and there's probably an area out there that you're struggling with. And so I'm going to open up the lines here as you guys want to comment or interject anything. I'd be glad to you know, to open up as you raise your hand. So hold on a minute. I've got to get the screen up here to see who's raising their hand, and I will unmute you as you do. Okay, I have Barry. I just unmuted you. So hold on. Now you're unmuted. Barry, did you want to say something? Barry, are you with us? You raised your hand. Maybe you've muted yourself out. Okay, I'll come back to you, my friend, if you want to raise your hand again. And I'm unmuting Jack Stagman. Jack, did you want to say something?
Can you hear me?
We sure can. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, I'm just doing fine. I just wanted to thank you for the call. You know, you always have an encouragement to everybody on the team. So thank you so much. I want to just touch just briefly. I've just got back from South Africa yesterday, and this whole aspect of integrity is so important. I was able to speak with 3 people. I got 3 cells over in Cape Town, South Africa. And in rands, these units cost about 51,000 rand, which is probably about 4 or 5 months of salary.
Wow.
And people that I met that have known me for a long time, they said, look, if you, and they basically said, we know your integrity, and if you say it's good, we believe you.
Wow.
So it's very important to build up within, you know, that whole aspect of integrity. So people know that when you say something, they know that what you're saying is true. So I just wanted to say, yeah, I absolutely agree with that. You know, we get so many people who have little integrity and follow up with calls. They don't do what they say they're going to do. And I think that's very important in a business like this, is that we do what we say we're going to do.
Wow, Jack.
Thanks, Lynn, for all you do.
Oh, wow. Thank you, man. That's certainly words that bless me. I'm going to mute you out here real quick. Yeah, what a great example that is, you know, as people that have known him for years that recognize his integrity and were willing to just jump on board because of his integrity. If we don't put it out there, you know, if Jack hadn't had the good, honorable dealings with these people, there's always a red flag. you know. And so we have to be people of integrity and forthright with each other, and forthright, you know, with our prospects and our friends and our families and our business people in every aspect. And, you know, I know that that can kind of step on toes because people might be ruffled up saying, well, I'm a person of integrity. And that's why I wanted to take it down to the basics. You know, do we follow do the rules apply to you? Do you bend the rules, and do you do things, you know, behind somebody's back, or whatever? You know, do you do those things that would make people question your integrity? Because as long as we have those things within us, you know, our business is going to take a lot longer to build, because we can't build our business until we build us. And so thank you, Jack, so much. I really look forward to a full update on that trip to South Africa. Again, the whole team, we want to say how sorry we are for the loss of your father. And I'm just so grateful that you were able to travel over there, to you know, to be there, to you know, to have the memorial with your family, and we're glad you're back. So I know you missed that water. I can't wait to hear what you have to say. Anybody else? I don't see any other hands raised at this point. Anybody else? I hope I didn't step on toes so your hands don't raise. But anybody else have anything to add out there? Just raise your hand and I'll be sure to open it up. Okay, let's see. Mike and Pat. I'm going to open up Pat Cassidy first here. Okay, Pat, go ahead. You're on.
Okay, Lynn. Well, first of all, thank you for the rule of five. That's so critically important. And I think what you said this morning can help a lot of people. This thing about no income claims is extremely important. And the other thing is about medical claims. And for people out there that have a tremendous story, tremendous personal testimonial, it'd be a good idea to just write that down and then talk to somebody on your team and say, hey, how does this sound? Am I going beyond the line with what I'm saying, or how can I say it differently to make it comply? So I think that for new people, especially new people getting into the business, it's important for them to understand how to phrase things, and the team members can help you out dramatically with that.
Absolutely.
And what you were saying about respect, there is no substitute for respect. People know when you're not respecting them, and if you give people respect, they will give it back, and that is critically important in our business. Do what you say you're going to do. Be places that you say you're going to be, so people can count on you. And when people can count on you, that's an incredible thing, and that can help your business dramatically. So, so thanks again for bringing up just some of the basic rules. We all need to work on that, and you know, because all of us have heard stories about people saying, well, you know, I was telling people about this water, and they said that they needed to ask their doctor. Well, if they think they have to ask their doctor about drinking water, then we've said some things that maybe we shouldn't have said, because that should not be where it's going. So anyway, Lynn, thanks again. Appreciate you just doing this call every Wednesday morning.
Well, thank you, Pat. And I love what you shared here. I'm going to mute you right back out here. Yeah, what a great, that's a really good point. If you have people that are saying, I need to ask so-and-so or so-and-so, and they're going back to the medical community, we probably have misspoken, you know, and that's also a good idea to write down that testimonial and run it by somebody. You know, again, you've heard me say this before, and I say this because, you know, I'm a trained trainer, so I know what it means to practice your words and to be able to perfect those words. And so that might be an area that's, you know, when you get excited, you could get weak, and not intending to mislead anybody. You know, for me, it's pretty easy, because I do come up from a position of faith. And I understand I'll focus a lot on the miraculous nature of the human body and how it reacts when we give it what it needs. And that's not just water, folks. And so, but for you, it might be a little struggle. And I don't mean that as a criticism of your faith, but it might be more difficult for you. So you do need to practice it and be sure you get it to a place that's compelling. The other side of that is, you know, when we say things that are wrong, if you take the legal risk out of it for a second, it's also positioning people into a whole pharmaceutical mentality. Drink this water, you'll get better. I mean, it's like saying, take this chemo, well, you know, whatever. It's positioning it in the wrong way. It's not it at all. The water does nothing to heal. It's the body that kicks in. And so that's a very good point. I love that if you feel like you have to ask somebody We had somebody on the team, they're on the call here this morning, that might want to share, but they were dealing with somebody that had to ask their nutritionist. Can you even imagine that you'd have to ask your nutritionist if you could drink water? I mean, something's wrong with that, right? And so we do have to be sure we position them in the right way. And I see Mike Cassidy's hands up, so I'm going to unmute you here, Mike. Go ahead, you should be live.
Okay, Lynn. Well, that was a great message, a great topic this morning, and probably one that's long overdue. And we are in a profession, and if we're going to be network marketing professionals, we need to subscribe to certain standards of conduct and integrity, just like any other profession. And that requires the commitment to understand what the rules are, and to follow the rules, to train on how to do this business effectively. Mm-hmm. And for people that are just coming into this business, there is a learning curve. There is some things that you need to be familiar with, and a great place to start is with enagic.com.
Yes.
That's where you find the policies and procedures, right, which are kind of the basis of what we do. And also, you get updates all the time about events and so forth. So that helps to stay connected. And the other thing is to stay connected with your sponsor, with your other team members, with local meetings, and also the regional meetings. And if you're in any other profession, you're going to do that. If you're a professional athlete, you're gonna do all those things. You're gonna show up for practice. You're gonna learn the playbook, right? And that's how people are going to excel in this business. And what we have here is so unique and so powerful that we don't have to make stuff up, right, to get people interested. If we just tell them the truth about what we have, what our marketing plan is, what our comp plan is, and how effective it is compared to everything else in the industry, we don't have to embellish it.
That's right.
We don't have to, we don't have to go to those levels.
No,
so thanks again for your, all your hard work and bringing this topic forward.
Oh my goodness. Well, you're welcome. Thank you. I'm going to mute you back out here just a second here. Yeah, that's a great point. It amazes me really, how few people tap into the corporate side, enagic.com, and how few people have ever even read the compliance manual. They've just gotten on board, and again, I guess the rules don't apply to them because you're supposed to read the compliance manual, but you can rest assured, if you go to your job, if you have a job, where you get paid, paycheck, if you went to your job tomorrow and everybody has a policy manual and you just thumb your nose at it and say, well, I'm going to do what I want to do, you're going to lose that paycheck pretty quick. So why would you not operate with at least as much integrity when it's your business? Why would you not want to know what the guidelines is? Did we suffer with the fact that we do work for ourselves so we can make up our own rules? I don't know. But I know one thing, we're putting everybody in jeopardy when we do that. So if you have any question about it, you need to go look it up, read the compliance manual, and don't wait for somebody else to tell you, hey, you just did something wrong. Go read the compliance manual and have a starting point from there. So that's a great input there, Mike, that, we need to do that. We need to be sure that we know that we can use the rules or, the tools too. And you wouldn't go work for a company to get a paycheck and not know what's expected of you. Of course you would. If you want a paycheck, you got to know that. So if you want to succeed in this company, you need to know the rules, and you need to understand what's expected in terms of your performance, because although you own your own business, we all represent the same company, and we have to protect what's going on out there. So, I think the message is timely just based on some things I've seen, and I'm glad to bring that message forth. And Bev Clark, you were with us. I'm going to call on you here, so hopefully you have not unmuted yourself. I'm unmuting you now. So, Bev, are you with us? Bev Clark? Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, well, you didn't expect me to.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. But, I just wanted some of your input, and mainly because, well, first of all, you have more experience than I do in this industry, but also because you were or are, have been a real estate broker for a million years, and you probably have something to say about following the rules. So would you share with us the importance, of following the rules?
Well, yeah, you kind of caught me off guard there, but in real estate, for sure, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, you'll lose your license, and of course, you won't be able to operate and sell real estate. So,
Right.
Well,
Well,
what you're saying is very important because we all want to continue doing our magic business.
right. Well, you shared something with me just yesterday. Do you remember about the walnuts? We were talking about this yesterday. So what is it that you saw? Share.
Yes. I saw a post somewhere on the internet yesterday where they had shut down a company, and I forget the name of the company, for selling walnuts because their packaging said it was heart healthy or something like that. I would have to look it back up, but it really frightened me when I saw it.
Yeah.
It made me think of how careful we're going to have to be.
Yeah, so that's one of the things I wanted you to share. Thank you, Bev. I'm going to mute you back out here just a second. Yeah, so Bev has been in real estate for a long time as a broker, so you can only imagine, what she's seen out there. And you have agent breaks the rules, the agent's license in jeopardy, the broker's license is in jeopardy. But think about that. When you're a real estate agent, you're self-employed, just like you are here. We're self-employed, but we still have rules. And so I think that's a great analogy to think about, that you still have to abide by the rules, even though you're your own boss, so to speak, right? But when Bev shared that with me yesterday, she did say that the packaging, and I looked it up after she talked, but it said, all it said on the packaging of the walnuts was heart healthy. And just for that, the FDA shut them down. So if you think that just a little, they didn't even say, eat this and your heart will be healthy. All it said was heart healthy on the packaging. So if you think the FDA wouldn't, if they can come in and shut somebody down for something like that, that they wouldn't come shut us down for making some ridiculous claim about drink this and your cancer will go away, think again. And so, we have got to be so careful. That was just so, I'd already planned to bring forth this message, but when Bev shared that with me, I was just blown away. I'm like, oh my gosh, such a litigious world, and a world that, sometimes people ask me, well, is this product approved by the FDA? And the bottom line is, we don't want it approved by the FDA. We want to stay clear of all those things. We just want to do what we do. We want to change people's lives. We want to spread a message of compassion. We don't want to play ball with the FDA in any way. So, just be mindful of that. So anybody else before we close out the call here? Anybody else, raise your hand. I'll be glad to unmute you. It's great feedback this morning. Thank you to Mike and Pat and Bev. And, I'm just so excited. I don't know if Maggie McIntyre is still on the line with us. Maggie, I'm going to unmute you, darling, so hopefully you've got a quiet background there. And if you would just, are you with me, Maggie?
Oh, I'm still here. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, hon, thanks for letting me call on you. I know you're really excited about the whole Flint Fear kind of concept, and thank you again for being there for the two events that we did and for all your help. And I just thought if you wouldn't mind just sharing briefly, you were kind of giving feedback. I always like to, gather together and say, tell me what you think. And you gave such great pointers of what you saw from it. And then if you would share what you foresee happening in North Carolina when we take it down there.
Well, absolutely. First of all, the meetings on Sunday and Tuesday evenings, I thought were extremely informative. When I pitched it on Facebook, I told my people that, this was information only. It wasn't a sales pitch. Let's, band together and find out ways that we can work together to at least make our water safe. First, what can we do at our level if the state or local government is failing us at their level? There are definitely steps we can take on a personal accountability level to help with our own health. It's very important that we all take our own health into consideration, because there's nobody else out there that's going to care as much about our health and our families as we do.
Right.
And so I thought that the meetings the other night were informative. The questions that people were asking were right on point, and everybody seemed genuinely interested in the subject matter. So I was very pleased to see that. And as far as North Carolina is concerned, I know from friends of mine and my distributor down there that there are definitely pockets of little towns in the different counties there that are severely suffering from polluted water. They get flyers, several times a month on don't drink the water this week, and boil, 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 and go to an alternative source like bottled water. So there's definitely problems down there, and I'm very anxious to get down there with you and this whole format to start presenting this and helping people out.
Well, that is so awesome. Thank you, Maggie. I'm sorry I put you on the spot. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm going to mute you back out here. You can raise your hand if you have anything else, okay? Yeah, I'm excited for Maggie because, before I rolled out this whole Fear Flint thing, she was talking to me about what was going on in this lady's, region there, just all kinds of horrible things. Maggie also has some friends that, I may get it wrong, Maggie, so if it's critical, correct me, otherwise I'm just going to roll with it. But she's got other friends that just like this whole street in the subdivision, everybody's got cancer. I mean, guys, that's against all odds, okay? And if you think about it, when Aaron Brockovich broke the whole Hinckley, California thing, of course the discovery was made because they found medical records in real estate files, so that's how the connection was made. But the bottom line is there was such an enormous, concentrated level of cancer, tumors, reproductive issues. When you went out to that community, it was against all odds. And so there was definitely a smoking gun. And so I think as we, move forward and we're able to go into communities like this, they're ready to hear about safety. Now, everybody needs to understand, especially our guests on the call that maybe not have been privy to some of the discussions as I've kind of been trying to teach people about what we're going to do. Our units will not take care of bacteria, for instance. That it's not going to happen. That's not what we have. We don't have a filter, so to speak, although we do filter. It doesn't take care of bacteria. So if we have a bacterial issue, we've already, have a plan for that, where it's not our product, it's another product. We need to get rid of the bacteria coming into the home first, and then after that, we work on the other things. Our unit, of course, outside of all the, attributes that are good for your health, our units, for instance, have a great filter, a great carbon filter, the best that we can possibly get our hands on, and that filter will take care of the majority of lead. It'll take care of the majority of chlorine and the majority of fluoride. The good news is that the small trace levels that it doesn't remove just through the filtration process are actually acidic. And so when it ionizes, those things are going to spit out the acidic host. So in essence, we really can take care of that problem. So you can imagine as we go in with this whole concept of safety, we're looking at, first of all, do you have bacteria? Second of all, how can we take care of issues like lead, fluoride, and chlorine? And third of all, how can we, stop that overload of cleaning chemical contamination that's going right back into wastewater treatment? So it's huge. And I think that we'll get their attention that way. I'm really excited to be able to have an opportunity to work with Maggie in North Carolina on that. And I'm very, very excited about this concept because, there's more than one way to skin a cat. And not everybody wants to hear about water that, is beneficial to the body, that will, it result in some good, good health. Not everybody's even cares about that. Some people just don't. But they all care about, well, not all, but 47% of America cares about the safety of their water. So thank you, Maggie, for sharing that. I see Mike's hands raised again. So, Mike, I've just unmuted you.
Okay. Lynn, I just want to thank Maggie for taking the initiative to set that up. I know that from the work I've done in North Carolina that there's a lot of areas down there that have severe problems, a lot of small towns that have the notices that go out, especially around the Fort Bragg area. Mm-hmm. So that's important to take that message out. Along the same lines, Hunter DeButz is setting up a similar type meeting in Herndon that's going to be April 2nd. And it's going to, kind of focus in on some of the the areas brought to light by Flint, Michigan, and the USA article that came out recently about the other towns that are affected. So that's going to be at the Tie Line restaurant in Herndon on April 2nd. It's going to be a luncheon type meeting. It's starting at 10 o'clock in the morning, and they'll actually serve a lunch at 11:30, and that's going to be at a cost of $15 each. Now, that's something you can bring your prospects to. We expect the sponsor to pay for their guests' meal and not to have their guests pay for lunch. But I think that's going to be a good meeting. I'm going to help present at that, and we sent out a flyer on it last night. So, you know, hopefully we can utilize that to our benefit.
That's awesome. That's so great. Awesome. And yeah, good input. I'm going to mute you back out. Good input on North Carolina, because, you know, another thing is, like, we've all seen the Camp Lejeune issues that, you know, where the government basically knew there was contamination of the water there for years and years. It came from a dry cleaners, and they just knew it was there, and it just stayed there. But it wasn't until what happened there was a cancer clinic on base, and these people just started noticing how many people had cancer. They even had an odd level of, you know, breast cancer in men. And they all kind of huddled up together and decided to bring Aaron Brockovich in, and they've exposed that huge problem. You know, there's not much they can do about that. It really needs to be done on an individual basis. So that's why it's really important for us to, you know, quit. In life, we have to quit blaming everybody else, okay? You know, you can blame all you want to in Flint, Michigan, for instance, but it's $1 billion problem. But, you know, if the residents of Flint knew about, you know, options that they have, if they took steps to take care of the bacteria coming into their home because their city water is not properly addressed, if they took care of that and had their device, they wouldn't have anything to worry about. But, you know, people are looking at for somebody else to fix the problem. And so, you know, that whole Flint thing, as you know, I rolled that concept out a while back, and I rolled it out because I was inspired. Now, you know, I just kind of thought, oh, Flint's Flint. But then as I was posting on that, I do my blog, and as you know, I try to follow current affairs, because that way I get a lot of hits. If you ever question, you know, I have 36,000 people following my blog. That's not because I'm all that. That's because I try to write to current affairs. And so as I was writing to current affairs, I had people reaching out, you know, from Flint, asking, you know, will your water help our problem? And of course, at first I'm thinking, well, no, it won't, because, you know, we don't handle bacteria. You know, what are we going to do? But that's not the case. So it's so cool to be able to bring this whole concept together, you know, and I'm very grateful for a background in fear selling. So, you know, it's rippling through our team. I love that. I'm so glad Hunter's following that lead. I'm so glad Maggie's following that lead. I'm so excited to be bringing this forth. And I think we're going to, you know, not only be able to get out there and produce a lot of revenue, frankly, for us, but it's the right thing to do. And so it just kind of adds a new dimension to what we do, to raise awareness about water. And, you know, as I was speaking at the meeting last night, I was talking about how if you look at addressing this individually, you know, it's one thing to say, will you invest in this, you know, this amount of money, this device, you know, so that you have a better quality water for your health. That's one thing. But when you address it and you say, you know, will you invest in this kind of technology, a package, if you will, you know, that would take care of every water problem that you have, you know, you kind of get into a home improvement thing, to be honest with you. You know, if they needed a new roof, they'd find, you know, $5,000, $10,000, whatever, depending on their roof, not 5,000, but, you know, if they, 10,000, if they needed a new HVAC system, that would be a home improvement, a home maintenance kind of thing. And if we do what I've been saying that we need to do, focusing on the fear of the Flint, you know, everywhere that across the country, then it really comes down to, will you do this for the better, for the health of your home and the health of your body? Will you embrace that, you know, and take care of things once and for all? Because we can point fingers all we want to, but, you know, we are not in a good economic position. We've kind of gotten used to a struggling economy. We're not gotten better. We're just used to it. We're not as shocked by it now. We've cut back our lifestyle. We've done all kinds of things, But, we can't sit there and demand the government, no matter what our water bill costs, if there's not $1 billion to fix the infrastructure in Flint, it isn't happening. And they say, wow, if we just had, I think it's $400,000, if we just had $400,000 and we could, install a huge carbon filter, then we could take care of a lot of the lead. Think about that, folks. What they're talking about is a big carbon filter for the entire municipality, but we have a good carbon filter that gets rid of the lead right inside the home. So it's a paradigm shift of take care of it for yourself. And I've always been a renegade to bring forth new concepts, but I've also been a renegade for the underdog. And so I really love this whole idea. I'm so excited, that it's filtering throughout the team. I'm excited for the lives that we're going to change, and but we won't get there if we don't follow the rules, right? And so it's coming back full circle now as I close out this call, that we need to always be mindful of the rules. Think beyond yourself, always strive to be a better human being. We never complete that process. No matter how many days we have on the planet, we're always striving to be the best that we should be, striving to be the best that we can be, a person of integrity, a person of honor, a person that's trustworthy. Whether you share my faith or not, you need to put that into play in the business. And please, watch your words, because there's power in the spoken word. And that word, whatever words you speak that might be detrimental to an addict, is detrimental to me and everybody else. So I really appreciate it if you think about that. Ponder, do the rules apply to you? So on that note, I hope you guys will go out and make it a great day. It is a beautiful day every day that we wake up and have a chance to live this life and to work this business. This call, as always, is being recorded. So as soon as I get that all transferred, I'll put it out there for you to share, and hopefully you'll put it out to the rest of the team. God bless you all, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.